Sports on Tap Detroit, brought to you by Tap and Barrel Grill, the Realtors of the Joe Wright Group, Jason Stiltner of Flagstar Bank, Baldman Entertainment.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
We are tonight's entertainment.
We're here to fuck shit up.
Sports the way it should be. Nothing sugar-coated, we loaded with all the information you wanted. From legends to prospects, nothing's off limits. Chris and Joe be taking on all topics with no stopping. They keep it rolling and going and ball hopping at a rate that's hard stopping. With news that's jaw dropping, they're getting it in. Sports Center competition, man, they in it to win. This ain't a fluke, from Carolina to Duke, from MSU to Michigan. You'll know if you listening, if you ain't, you missing it. All the excitement, they shock like a thundercloud and ride with lightning. Get it together, you know ain't nobody better. Bring heat than cold weather. You better put on a sweater, you better just let it go when all come and attack. Sit back, relax, let's tell them it's on tap.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
Welcome to episode 165 of Sports on Tap Detroit. I am Chris Scott alongside Joe Waddell. Joe, how are you?
I'm great.
Are you?
I'm great. Yeah.
Sound like it.
Yeah, I'm great.
Well, I mean, I can tell you're kind of being a little sarcastic here, and there's a good reason for that.
Yeah.
So before we get into the sports stuff, what we're actually here to do the show for, Joe has a little story which I found very fascinating, and people with kids, I think you'll find this fascinating as well. I mean, I don't have kids, but I still found it rather funny. However, if you do have kids that are listening, I highly recommend that you put them somewhere else so they can't hear this, because it's kind of not safe for work, and there's other stuff that might not work for them.
Some Christmas spoilers for the kiddos.
Yeah, a little bit of Christmas spoilers.
If you have them in the room.
Yes, stuff that you might not want them to hear. So, we'll give it a minute if that is the case. I think we're good. Joe?
Okay.
Tell your story.
All right, so if you have kids, obviously, you know, the joys of being a parent are fantastic. Also, there's a lot of trials and tribulations as well. And I wouldn't change it for the world, but sometimes our kiddos can be a pain in our asses without even trying, and bless their little hearts, even by trying not to be, they are. So Christmas time comes, right? And you want your kids to ask Santa for things. You want them to write a list. Now, my daughter doesn't really sit down and write lists because she's really not a greedy kid. Like, she doesn't. A lot of kids sit down and they're trying to all these things they want. Now, throughout the year, she will say, I'll ask for this for Christmas, or I'll ask for this for Christmas. So I have ideas throughout the year, and I buy things leading up, and I buy way too much. And her birthday is 2 months after Christmas, so I end up putting some things away for her birthday as well. But every year when it comes down to it, the things that she asks for from Santa are usually things that I've already gotten, things that she has said she wants, and then she sits down and she writes her letter to Santa because she doesn't like visiting him in person. She's afraid of him, like most kids. And then she writes her letter to Santa, and I already have these things, and I just determine, okay, these are the things that Santa's going to give her then, because that's what she asked for.
Yeah.
Well, this year she had put off writing her letter to Santa for so long, and finally Sunday night I got her to write it because I said, Santa might bring you something you don't want if you don't write the letter. You need to write him a letter. She sat down and she wrote it. This little shit, by not trying to, she sat down and wrote whatever came to her head that she wanted. The problem this year is the things that she wrote down were none of them had been uttered out of her mouth the rest of the year. So she writes a letter to Santa, and she usually writes down 3 things. And then every year, Santa does bring her pajamas, Christmas pajamas, every year.
Yeah.
So she wrote down 4 things this year. The 4th thing was very specific. She wanted a replacement for her pajamas she got 2 years ago, which were Rudolph pajamas that she has now outgrown. Meanwhile, I had already bought her pajamas from Santa, which were Mickey Mouse Christmas pajamas, which she loves.
Of course.
But now I have to try to scramble 2 weeks before Christmas to try to find and get Rudolph pajamas. Those were not the hardest things to get. I was finally able to find them. I ordered them. I believe they actually got delivered today. The other three things have a big backstory to me trying to get these. They're not readily available things.
No, certainly not.
As I found out, I actually found out after I read it. I was a little frustrated because I hadn't gotten any of these yet, and I thought I would just already have the things that she was asking for. But these things were even harder to get than I thought. She wanted very specific things. She wanted a Trolls Switch game, which from what I've seen, there's only one. They only made one, and it's not necessarily readily available for you to buy in physical form. You can download it off of Switch, but the physical form of it, new in a box, is not available anywhere. And even used at a place like GameStop, I could not find them.
And you wanted her to have like a thing of actually opening something,
right? Like I didn't want her to, like Santa's not going to leave her a digital download card, right? Which I could have done.
Lady friends, brother and sister-in-law were having issues with this too for PS5. They wanted to get them like a basketball game or something like that, and I'm like, well, they're like half off right now on the PlayStation Store, but
it had to be downloaded.
It had to be downloaded, but they wanted something to actually physically give them.
Right.
So I was like,
which you could wrap up the download thing, and that was going to be my next step if I couldn't find it. So this one was a little bit harder than the pajamas, and I found it, and I ordered it. It's on order. Again, I had to find it from a random place. The other two things were much more difficult to come by.
Oh, yeah.
She was very specific. She wanted a Maui from Moana character that was the size of her Barbies, which she has all the princesses, including Moana. So I looked this up, and I'm laying in bed that night looking these things up, trying to have her not see, what I'm looking at is she's watching the movie.
Right.
And I'm panicking because they didn't make them for the second movie yet. They don't get released until January.
Oh, really?
And I'm not even sure that they're the same size. All of the ones that are the size of the Barbies, brand new, are on resale for $100 to $150. They're like limited edition. Like you can't find them. They're that rare.
Right.
I love my daughter. I'm not spending $100 to $150 on a Maui doll that is the size of a Barbie.
It's just money.
Yeah, and I say that too many times.
I know.
So this time was not going to be it. I've already bought so many things for Christmas. I've already overspent. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I can't afford it. Not that I can't afford it. I can't afford it. I'm not going to do that.
Not
That's
to mention
too
the
much.
Disney trips.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So
remember, you're broke.
I am broke. That's why she didn't write her Christmas letter for a long time. Oh, that's why she didn't write her list.
Yeah.
So I finally found the Maui doll used.
Yeah.
There was plenty of them used. A lot of them were still going for $50. I was able to find one in very good condition, basically like new. It actually comes with a Moana doll. It was difficult to find. There was only one out there. Thank God I found it. I ordered it. I'm hoping it all works out at this point. I still spent $40 to order this thing used.
Right.
Like it's insane.
I guess better than 150.
It's better than 150 new,
Right.
100 even 100 new.
Yeah.
The next one, a police officer Barbie. Now
you would think they would have this
you would
because they have everything else Barbie.
you would think
Yeah.
you would think. I thought, police officer Barbie, no problem.
Right.
Yeah, they don't have it. There's a certain one out there from like 1970 or something like that, like old. It's old. When I say vintage, not like the Moana doll or the Maui doll.
This
that
is
was
like
vintage.
legit
This is
vintage.
like legit vintage.
Right.
And again, in the $100 range and more to order this police officer Barbie that in all honesty doesn't look like it's wearing a police officer outfit.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's not happening.
No.
So now I'm scrambling because she asked for these things from Santa. Santa comes through, right? Santa gets them what they ask for. Well, again, I go on a scavenger hunt on the internet trying to find anything to take the place of this. I finally found a pack of Barbie clothing that was like first responder clothing that had a police officer outfit in it, along with, I believe, a nurse outfit and then
Now,
a
firefighter
outfit.
If people didn't know you had a kid and looked up your search history,
It's very random shit.
This
You know what I
would
mean?
be really weird.
It's like crazy, right?
yeah.
This guy's searching for Maui dolls
Yeah.
and Barbie clothing, and
you might have to be questioned a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
drastically. So
Yes.
I finally found that, and so Santa's going to get her the pack of the clothes to go, not an actual Barbie, but the pack of the first.
But she has
clothing.
Barbies that she can put them on.
She has way more Barbies than she. So I'd already gotten her a Barbie that she had mentioned she wanted.
Yeah.
Which is a gymnastics Barbie, which I thought she would ask for from Santa, and that would be from Santa. Well, she threw me a curveball and asked for the police officer Barbie.
So are you going to take gymnastics Barbie and change it and put the police uniform on her?
No, that's just going to be for me at this point.
Right.
Or it's going to get put off to the birthday. Like some stuff's getting off.
Got it.
But I bless her heart, she did not mean to make my last 3 days as stressful as they have been in trying to struggle and scratch and claw to find these items for Santa to give her.
Right.
And none of them, in reality, were very expensive because Santa, in my household, does not get her the most expensive gifts.
Right.
Because in my philosophy, not every household can afford to get really expensive gifts from Santa. Some kids don't get expensive gifts. I don't want my daughter to go to school saying Santa got her a PlayStation.
Right.
When another kid got socks. That I don't feel that's right. So Santa gets her middle of the road gifts, and with these, they were all in the inexpensive side, right? Relatively. So this year, Santa got her the 3 things she wanted. Plus, he's going to get her the Rudolph pajamas that she wanted.
Right.
So, you think as a parent you have it all planned out, and you think it's going to go as you plan. And then the curveball gets thrown at you, and you're scrambling, and you're like, "Holy shit! What is happening right now?" In the end, it will all work out. Christmas will be great. She will get the things she wanted, kind of, in some cases. But yeah, it's been for a parent, and anybody out there who is a parent, you can relate to these struggles this time of year of trying to find the things your kids want. And even if they're things that are normally readily available, this time of year, popular things sell out too. So like,
oh yeah, big time.
You struggle to find the one popular thing that the kids want that year, and everybody else is getting it. Your kid doesn't get it because you can't find it anywhere and you can't order it. I want Christmas to be here in 2 weeks and just be done with.
And I think it's going to get worse.
Been stressful.
As she gets older, it's going to get worse.
Oh, it certainly will. It certainly will.
But.
And there's another part to the story which I told you about too.
Oh yes, yeah.
So where we live, we have group mailboxes, right? I think a lot of people have these, right? And it's just a group of mailboxes, and you have a number, and you go.
Oh, in your gated community, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, in the gated community. So
in your palatial estate.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm doing that well.
Fancy.
Are you fancy,
It's
huh?
so fancy.
Oh, you're fancy, huh?
Yeah.
So I have Raylan write out the address, which is a completely fake address on the piece of mail that we got from Santa when he mailed her letter back. I had her write that out on an envelope. I put her note in the envelope.
Yeah.
I put a sticky note with our return address on it just to make her think it was official. I was just making her, I put a stamp on it. It's official. I didn't actually put a stamp on it to mail it. Meanwhile, she's 6. The address she wrote out, first of all, is barely legible, if at all.
Right.
Secondly, it has no stamp.
Yeah.
I took it, and we did not put it in the outgoing box. I opened up my own mailbox and put it in there. My intention was to go in the next night, last night, and get it out and take it because I saved those things from her.
Of course.
I like those as keepsakes.
Right.
Well, when I get home last night, I open up my mailbox, and there is nothing in it. The postal worker apparently opened up my mailbox, didn't put anything in it, but pulled out the letter to Santa, which was not legibly written by a child
And didn't have
and had no stamp on it.
right.
Where are you taking this letter, you postal worker? I just want to know what possessed you to actually take that somewhere. Why?
That's
I'm beyond blown away
yeah.
that the letter was gone.
Gone.
Like at some point it has to come back. It's got my return address on it. There's no stamp. It's not a legible address. It has to get returned to me at some point. It's a matter of when and why it got
That's
taken.
just weird.
Like why?
Yeah. I don't know. That's a strange one to me.
I never. If you'd have told me, well, aren't you worried about it getting taken? No, not at all. It's in my mailbox. It's not in the outgoing. It's in my mailbox. There's no reason for it to be gone. It'll be there when I get home tonight. Nope. Gone.
It's just I'm kind of at a loss on this one because it is so odd that somebody would just take that, especially without a stamp and without a legible address.
The absolute joys of being a parent around Christmas time.
Yes.
And I'm sure many people have even worse stories than I have. And this is not really that bad. It is just kind of crazy and frustrating and like, what the fuck?
Just be thankful though. You don't have to be one of those parents that has to go to like a mall or something. Like
And like camp out or try to
camp out or go there like a day or two before Christmas and try to find something that nobody's gonna fucking have. I mean, having worked retail, you see those idiot parents, and it's just like, why the fuck did you wait so long? What's wrong with you?
Yes.
And then they yell at me about it. Like, why don't you have this? I'm like, well, because it's 2 days before fucking Christmas, you idiot.
Because everybody else already came and bought them all.
Yeah, like, what do you think? We just got a shitload of them in the back? We're just hiding them?
Yeah.
You know, that's
we bring them out one at a time.
fucking idiots, man.
No, it's I will never be that parent.
I hope not.
So I am too organized to be that parent. I've actually had this discussion with people, and
Yeah.
if you know me, you know I am a very, even mentally organized. I'm a very organized person, and if things deviate from that, like I can adapt, but I'm very, I need a pattern, I need organization and all that stuff, and I cannot wait until the last minute to buy Christmas presents for my kid because I just cannot risk her not being as happy as possible on Christmas morning or on Christmas. Like, there's just no way. You know me, I didn't like Christmas for a long time. The joy I get out of her being super happy on Christmas with her gifts is everything to me.
See, I
cannot wait.
I know we talked about this last year, just kind of like our thoughts on Christmas, and mine are still the same. I'm not a fan of it. Just again, having worked retail, it killed it for me.
Yeah.
It absolutely killed the Christmas spirit for me. It just did, and I think it just gets progressively worse every year simply because people are just they're worse and worse every year.
I absolutely agree with you.
You know, and to me, I just want to get it done and over with. Don't get me wrong. I like buying gifts for people. I like to see that look on their face when they get something that they want. I think that's really cool. But the whole get in the Christmas spirit and be in a happy, jolly mood, all that shit. No, I'm not doing that. It's fake. I'm not going to do it because I just don't feel that way. I don't. No, boy, here we go.
Thanks, Alicia. And Dennis says we'll be all worth it on Christmas morn. Dennis, you're 100% right, and that's why I do it, and
Yes.
that's why I would have struggled for the next 2 weeks trying to get these things for her. I was able to pull it off in a couple days, thank the Lord, but I wasn't sure for a while there I was going to be able to pull it off. I was struggling, but and then Alicia, I appreciate it. Thank you.
And that's
for your
another thing
comment
that's
as well.
cool is like when you're trying to search for something that you don't know if you're going to be able to find, and then you actually find it.
Yeah.
That's even if you're getting something for yourself in that regard.
And the Maui one, the Maui one was the one I got last, and that one because she just saw that movie. She saw it twice actually. She loved it so much. She went and saw it with her mom, and then we went and saw it. Like that was the one she really wanted because it's fresh in her mind again. She loved the first one. She just saw the second one. She wanted that Maui one to go with the Barbies. She wanted it to be that size.
Right.
And man, I struggled and struggled. That was the last one I ended up getting. I didn't want to get it used, but I finally found one that was like brand new used, and there was pictures, and I could see there was no scratches, no like nothing. So yeah, no, it was. I was very joyous at the point in time where I was able to find it.
Yes.
And get it on order. Now I'll be even happier when it actually gets here because I'm still skeptical. So I'm still kind of on pins and
Hopefully
needles
it gets here in time.
I'm hoping.
I think it will be, but
It says it will.
right. Well, as Alicia says, that you are the best. You know who
I
else-
wasn't going to read that, but I appreciate that.
But do
Thank
you know who else is the best?
Jason Stiller from Flagstar Bank.
That's right. If you're a homeowner or looking to be a first-time home buyer, give Jason Stiltner, Senior Loan Officer at Flagstar Bank, a call today at 248-752-3631. Jason has great mortgage programs for first-time home buyers, including down payment assistance options and excellent interest rates. Again, give my guy Jason Stiltner from Flagstar Bank a call today at 248-752-3631 and get the excellent service you deserve. Flagstar Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC. NMLS number 27546.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
with that great story, let's get into the week that was in sports and, frankly, the NFL. We just seen a ghost. What happened?
No, I was reading this other comment. I was driving next to you on Grossbeck, get an AI box, and you can watch the game on your car screen instead of on your phone. I actually was. I was watching fantasy football, NFL Fantasy Live on my way here.
Oh, yeah.
I had it on my phone. I was basically just listening to it, but I
Right.
put it on my phone, and my phone wasn't actually watching while I was driving. I was
It's like
listening
on
to
your
it.
dash, yeah.
So this person says that they saw me watching it on my phone on the way here. I was. Yes. So you did see me. Yes, that was me.
Obviously, somebody that knows you.
And I will have to look into getting an. No, I don't think they know me. They must have just seen me on Grossbeck because I had the advertisements on the back of the
yeah,
car.
there you
So,
go. All right.
well, thanks for tuning in and thanks for saying that. I'm gonna check out getting an AI box. I appreciate that.
There you go. So, yeah, let's get into the week that was, especially in the NFL, because we'll get into the college football. You want to do the college football playoff first? Or you want to do the NFL?
Let's do college football playoff.
Okay, let's do college football playoff first. So obviously this year they went to 12 teams, and
Yes. I'm anxious to get your opinion on this. Eric and I talked about this at work the other day.
on the 12 teams,
Yep.
I
And Frank and I talked a little bit today before I left work.
You know, I know last year we kind of talked about it. You know, we were kind of excited it was expanding from 4 to 12. And at the time, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I dig it. But looking at how the season kind of played out, no, I think it's too much. I think it's too many teams. I do. 12 teams is too many.
I
think it's too many.
thoroughly,
And the way they've done it with these automatic bids and shit like that, nah, dude, no.
So I thoroughly enjoy it. I like it. I'm looking forward to seeing these games. I want to see how it plays out. I'm actually holding off my thoughts on the 12 teams, on how many teams it is for the next couple years. I want to see how it plays out. This year was weird because there was a lot of parity this year.
There was. That's why I don't like that there's 12 teams. Like, I don't want to see 3 lost teams in this thing. I don't.
Well, we don't have 3 lost teams in this thing, but what I like is that there is parity. So there's 12 teams in here, and there's so much parity. To me, any one of these teams actually can win this.
No, I don't
Now,
disagree. with
Oregon is the favorite.
Yeah.
And I just, spoiler, I actually picked them to win the Natty before the season started.
I think I picked Georgia. I don't remember.
But anyway, so I like kind of like the way it played out so far. I'm reserving the thoughts on the how many teams until a couple years go by. I want to get your thoughts on the teams that did make it, and if you have a problem with any that didn't or any that did. Because you're more the college guru than any of us, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, the teams that got in, I guess I'm fine with it. I think, and it's going to sound like a homer thing, but I think Miami kind of got jobbed. I do.
I knew that was coming.
But just with their resume, I think I think they should have got in, but they didn't. So be it. You had the chance to get in, and you didn't. You fucked up. So be it.
And for me, I say.
But overall, I think it's fine. Like, I don't hate it.
Well, and so the only one of the top 12 ranked teams, and to me, Miami maybe should have been ranked where Alabama was, but even Alabama didn't get in, right? So Alabama didn't get in at 11, and they were 9-3.
I'm actually shocked they didn't keep Alabama in.
The only team to jump into the top 12 that wasn't there was Clemson, and that's because they won their conference. So in reality, the top 12 are there other than one, and Alabama was the one that got knocked out at 3 losses.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, all right, Miami, could you have an argument? I mean, maybe, but
they had they fucked
you
they
had
fucked
other
themselves.
you had other chances to make sure you were in there.
Yeah, they did.
And you finished at 13.
Yeah.
With the 4-game playoff, 5 and 6 to me did have legit complaints some years, right?
Yeah.
Like 5 and 6 had legit complaints. At this point in time, no matter who's at 13 or 14, you know what I mean? I'm looking at it going, you had other opportunities. Like, you can't be upset you weren't one of the 12. Like, you finished at 13 or 14, like, a tough shit.
What
man.
I don't get is how Penn State jumped Ohio State when they played head-to-head and Ohio State beat them. That's what I don't get. That doesn't make any sense to me.
That to me is
Congratulations, you made the Big Ten championship game, but you fucking lost.
Yeah.
So,
well, one of the and that comes down to the personal shit with ranking these right there, right? That's why I like more of the automatic bid stuff, because you win your conference, you're in. Great. There's no decision making process there. There's no personal decision. It's you won your conference, you're in. And if you're the top 4 conference winners, you're the top 4 seeds in the playoffs. Like, I do like that. I'm anxious to see how it plays out this year, and then in the coming years. I'm reserving my full thoughts on it until then. But for right now, I'm psyched.
I mean, what I do like about it, I guess, with the 12 teams is that they're actually going to play this first round at on campuses, which I think is dope. I think that's going to be fantastic. Like the SMU Penn State game at Penn State, it's going to be a whiteout. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be at night. It's going to be fantastic.
It's
that I want to watch.
It's a college football playoff game.
Yes.
Playoffs.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like that aspect of this.
Yes.
Again, I do think 12 teams is too many. I would be fine with 8. I think it works better because I think it makes the games a little bit more important. And I think you kind of saw that this year with, you say the parity, but it's like, well, why are we scheduling these tough out-of-conference games? It really doesn't serve a purpose anymore.
Right.
You know? And I think with 8 teams, it would. You know? And that's what bothers me about it.
I think with having more teams be able to make it in, you're going to see tougher games being scheduled because you can suffer a loss or two and still make it into the playoff. Yeah. That's how I look at it. And we'll see how it plays out. I believe with 12 teams, you will see more tough matchups scheduled because you can suffer a loss against a good team and still make it into the playoffs. You know what I mean? You still have that ability. Before it was, if you suffered a loss, you were screwed.
Right.
You know, and so they tried. A lot of these teams, a lot of these schools tried not to schedule those big tough games because they would suffer a loss. They would rather have a bunch of cake wins.
They would, but I think back then though the strength of schedule actually mattered. You know, and now I don't think it matters as much.
I would say, in a sense, you're kind of right, but in a sense, I think we're going to see tougher strength of schedules because they're okay scheduling them now. Because if you suffer a loss, you can lose it and still make it in. You know what I mean? So we might get some better regular season college games out of this.
Well, I mean,
that's my hope.
But now you don't even really have to do this because now these conferences are like ridiculous now.
Yeah.
It's like you don't even have to. You can schedule the Little Sisters of the Blind and you'd be okay with it. You know, because your actual conference is already ridiculous as it is. So.
Raggedy Ann University.
Right. Exactly. So like I said, I just think 12 is too many. But it's not going to go back to 8. There's no way they're going to do that. So just live with it and, deal with it. But like I said, the one aspect of this that I do like is that they're actually going to play some of these playoff games on campus until it gets to the, quarterfinals and semifinals and so on. But I always think, and people might disagree with me on this, and that's fine, but I always think that the national championship game should be in the Rose Bowl, period. Like, how they have, like, the road to the Final Four?
Yeah.
That's what this should be, is road to the Rose Bowl. That's the grandest stage of them all for college football. It's the fucking Rose Bowl. Stop with the Orange Bowl and all these other nonsense bowls. I don't care. The Rose Bowl should always host the national championship game, period. But they're obviously not going to do that because there's too much money to be made with these other bowl games. So, whatever. It is what it is. However, in looking at this bracket, I mean, you got some intriguing matchups. Obviously, Tennessee going to the shoe to take on Ohio State. Let's see if Ryan Day actually has, gotten out of his frozen moment and, maybe actually help his team win a big game anyway. Clemson, Texas. Okay, I can dig that. SMU, Penn State. And then you got the Battle of Indiana, the Hoosiers and Notre Dame.
So that's the one that stood out to me too. Ohio State. Let's see if they can rebound from getting beat by a Michigan team that should not have beat them. But
No.
I'm looking forward to that Indiana Notre Dame game.
Should be a good one.
That should be a good game.
I mean, I'm glad. I think it's cool that Indiana got in. I think that's great.
I agree. I'm looking forward to seeing.
I guess that's the
some
one
of
thing
these-
I do kind of dig about this though, is you're seeing teams like SMU
Right.
and
Schools that never had a shot
Arizona
before.
State get in and Boise State.
They have a chance to play for something, and
Right.
who knows? Like we see it in college basketball all the time.
Yeah.
If you get hot at the right time, or if another team has an injury, like crazier things have happened. You know what I mean?
It's true.
Like you can see one of these higher seeds win a couple games here, maybe make it to the national championship game. I'm not saying necessarily we're going to see a 9, 10, or 12 or whatever win it
Right.
in the first few. But who knows, man? You never know.
Now, looking at these first round matchups, so you got obviously SMU, Penn State, Indiana, Notre Dame, Clemson, Texas, and Tennessee, Ohio State. Is there any one particular game that you could see as a upset? Which you're in the playoffs. I don't really think there's upset now.
Well, yeah, but
But-
if you're talking about higher seed, beating
Right. In that regard, yes, that's considered an upset.
prototypical upset.
Right. Yeah.
Personally, I look at the Texas Clemson game. I think Texas is going to win that game. I think they're just a better team. I think Tennessee has a shot at beating Ohio State because the way their season ended. I think there could be some leftover shit there that they're dealing with.
Yeah.
Like you said, Ryan Day is he done? Being a deer in headlights after just getting fucking.
This one's easy for me. It's SMU taking out Penn State. I do.
Well,
I absolutely
James.
do.
Yeah, James.
Exactly. That's exactly. And literally, that is the only reason. I do not trust big game James in a big fucking game. I don't.
But how great is it going to be to watch that happen if it does happen?
Oh, dude, it's one of my favorite things.
Joyous.
Like watching him and Brian Kelly, those two frauds lose.
Yep.
Big games is one of my favorite things in the sports world. I love it.
Joyous.
But that literally is probably the only reason I'm picking SMU to beat Penn State.
James Franklin.
James Franklin.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
I think Notre Dame wins. I'm looking forward to watching that game. Tennessee, Ohio State is a toss-up for me.
Joe?
Like I said, it's a matter of what happens.
And looking at this whole bracket,
Yep.
I think Notre Dame's going to win this whole thing.
Really?
I do.
See, I still have Oregon. I mean,
That's
I
fine.
picked them at the beginning of the season. I have to go with them.
I think I picked Georgia at the beginning of the season, but just looking at this bracket, how it kind of shapes up here, I think Notre Dame's going to win this whole thing. I do, and that sucks. But
Frank will be happy.
Frank will be definitely happy. But something because nobody's talking about him. Everybody always talks about Oregon and Georgia and basically every other team in this playoff. Nobody's really talking about Ohio State except that they lost to Northern Illinois like early in the season.
Do you want to know my favorite thing I see when I look at this?
What's that?
Alabama's not there.
I
That
thought
is-
for sure they were going to keep him in.
That is my favorite thing about looking at this bracket right now for the college football playoffs.
Yeah, it's nice.
There's no Alabama.
There's no Alabama.
Fuck Alabama.
Sorry, Uncle Nick. You're not there anymore. It's not, kowtow to Alabama anymore. It's just that's not how it works.
Fuck Alabama. I'm so glad they're not in it.
But I honestly thought for sure they were going to keep him in. I really did. And if they did, I'm like, this whole thing's a fraud. If they kept him in, but they didn't. They actually got that right. So good for them.
You're picking Notre Dame to win it.
I think Notre Dame's going to win this whole thing.
I'm gonna roll with Oregon still.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like again, I don't remember who I picked at the beginning of the season. I want to say it was
I
Georgia.
think you did pick Georgia.
I think I did too. I mean, so I guess technically I still have to go with that. But in just
Well,
looking,
no, I mean you can change your
I'm
mind.
not going to change it. I just, for whatever reason, I just have a weird feeling that Notre Dame's
Yeah.
going to win this whole thing. Which, whatever. Good for them. Good for them. Anyways.
Yeah.
You know who else wins?
The Joe Wright Group every time.
That's right. Whether you're buying or selling your home, now is the time to take advantage of having the expertise of 3 real estate agents for the price of 1 on your side. Make the right move with the right group, the Joe Wright Group. Give Craig Joe Wright, Mike Bush, and Shane Wilson a call today at 248-535-4750 to fulfill all of your real estate needs.
Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
It's true. All right, let's kind of curtail off this topic a little bit and head over to the National Football League in the week that was. What was that week? Fucking 14, right?
Yes, that was week
14?
14. Yes.
Decent week, I guess.
was
a lot of bye weeks.
A lot of bye weeks, but it was a wild week.
It was
man.
a wild week, and
There were some high scores, a lot of touchdowns.
a lot of touchdowns. Fantasy-wise, had a lot of implications. Fantasy-wise,
A lot.
That's something you can discuss here shortly.
A lot of fantasy implications, and on that note, Eric, fuck you. And your Puka Nicole bullshit.
All right, so we talked about the Lions-Packers game on the Friday show that we did, so we really don't need to get too much into that. But obviously, probably the game of the week, it was Rams-Bills. High-scoring affair.
Absolutely.
Josh Allen, I think, 100% cemented his MVP candidacy. I think if you had to pull it right now, he would be the MVP. Would you disagree with that?
No.
Yeah, when you contribute 6 touchdowns on your own, like
I
do something that's never been done.
He's the only person I would put up there with him right now is Saquon.
Yeah.
But he won't get the respect he deserves because he's a running back.
Because it's a quarterback award.
Right.
Yeah, simple as
It's
that.
basically a quarterback award at
It
this
is.
point.
Yeah, so like I said, when you do something that's never been done in the history of the game, account for 6 touchdowns.
Yep.
Whether it be 3 passing and 3 running. Okay, you did something pretty exceptional. So, the game, however, this was simple for me. When the game ended, I was a little irritated, but I wasn't like, oh my god, fuck this team, anything like that, because it was simple. It came down to a few things. One, their defense clearly didn't fucking show up. They forgot to get off the plane or thought they were playing Madden on rookie mode or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
And two,
that was rough.
And 2, Sean McDermott continues to do stupid shit at the end of games. And that costs his team games.
Even
And this is why they won't win a Super Bowl with him as a head coach. They won't.
I think even Eberflus was at home going,
What the fuck is he doing?
I wouldn't have done that.
When they try to run that tush push, like I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that?
What?
Like now you're gonna have to waste the time out, you fucking dum.
Like that's not your MO. That's not your game.
Not only that, like why are you accepting this penalty? What are you doing? Like why? And again, we've talked about this so many times with these idiot coaches that they get paid millions of dollars and they just do incredibly stupid shit. I don't understand it. They overthink shit all the time. Like, why didn't you take the penalty there?
Yep.
Like, it was 4th down, dude. That made no sense to me. Obviously, the wasting of the timeout. And it was just like, okay. That's why this team won't win a Super Bowl, because your late game especially clock management is just, you've cost this team too many times. And obviously, you look through the Bills, like, Twitter groups and all that shit like that, and people are, oh, if you're mad at McDermott, yeah, I'm mad at McDermott. Like, why wouldn't I be? Yeah, is he a good coach? Yeah, I think he's a good coach. But he's that coach that gets you to a certain spot, but he won't get you over that certain spot.
Right.
And it's continually happened, and I think it's going to continue to happen. Like, when it gets down to that moment, he freezes. He goes Ryan Day. He freezes. So that's really all I got to say about the game. It was a fun game to watch if you like defense optional football. So yeah, that's really all I got on that one. You got any thoughts on that?
No, I mean it was a fun game to watch. I thought both teams literally left their defenses somewhere else. They definitely weren't on the field that day.
No, they weren't.
And It was a duel, man, and props to Matt Stafford as well.
Yeah.
I mean, for a guy that we thought was washed up 2 years ago, I mean, he played pretty fucking amazing.
He was out.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
he was really good.
He was up to the challenge for Josh Allen. They ended up winning that game, and you know, hats off to them as well. It was just a fun game to kind of watch and just. Not having a dog in the fight for me, I was like, God damn. Other than I hated Puka Nacua because he beat me in fantasy in one of my leagues, but
this is the biggest reason why I say QB wins as a stat is fucking stupid. Josh Allen didn't lose that game.
no, Josh Allen did everything he could to win that game.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a team loss.
It really was, and this is why you see, you know, the L next to his name. He didn't
Yeah.
fucking lose that game.
Right.
Like the defense clearly let him down. Like there's only so much you can do. You got it for 6 fucking touchdowns.
They scored 42 points. I mean,
Like, come on, what are we doing here?
there wasn't much else he could do.
If there's, if there's a case to be made for eliminating that as a QB stat, then there it is. Like I don't know how much more
I don't
clear
think
you
they're
can
ever
make it.
going to eliminate it. But what it is you're going to end up looking at that stat, which people already do. You're going to end up looking at that stat as like a lesser stat. Like you're not going to pay attention to it. It'll be there,
Right.
But it won't be one of those things where you're like, well, this guy had this many wins, this guy had this many. It's not going to be a thing. You're going to look at other things.
Yes, absolutely. So, anyways,
Another game I really liked was the Atlanta-Minnesota game. Up until the fourth quarter, that was
Oh.
a tight game. I mean,
Yeah.
it was 21-21 going into the fourth quarter, and Minnesota just poured it on there at the end.
Uncle Kirk, man.
Uncle Kirk Ruff, Sam Seeing Ghost Darnold is apparently he called the Ghostbusters.
He looked
because
good.
he no longer is seeing ghosts, and he threw for he only had 6 incompletions, 347 yards, and 5 touchdowns.
Yep.
Great game from him, along with Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson. I mean, it was just that was another fun game to watch. Again, not having a dog in the fight. I know Lions fans would have rather Minnesota not win,
Obviously.
but for everyone else who's not a Lions fan, this is going to be fun the next few weeks watching these races come down to the very end because these teams got to play each other.
They do. They absolutely do. It's going to be, coming out of that. There's still some races in both conferences to secure higher seeds, get home field and whatnot. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to those games. It should be a lot of fun to watch coming down the stretch here. So, but yeah, the Vikings they looked good. That was the one game that the Vikings have played this year that they actually look like okay. That I looked at that game and then looked at that team that day and I'm like, they don't look fraudulent today.
Yep.
So, I mean, we'll see if that continues, but at least for that day, they didn't look fraudulent.
Well, and we'll talk about not being fraudulent. Let's talk about the 49ers. All the injuries.
You said it. You said that was going to be a get right game.
I did, and they fucking got right. all
They
right.
got right.
Even losing their third string running back to an injury,
Yeah, right.
they kept plugging along. They scored 38 points against Chicago, and I mean, it was a get right game for them.
Yeah, it was. They looked really good. I mean, obviously you say, oh, but it was against the Bears. Well, yeah, it was, but if you're a supposed good team, this is what you're supposed to do against really bad teams and beat the daylights out of them, and that's what they did. That's the 49ers team that we've expected all season.
They basically played mistake-free football.
They really did. That might be the
And-
best game they played all season.
And yes, you're right. People will say, "Oh, who's the Bears?" But the Bears have a decent defense. They're not bad on defense.
But the
San
Niners
Francisco,
made, yeah.
San Francisco made them look bad.
Yeah, they did.
on defense.
They did. So I credit to them. That's good. That's good for the Niners. But I want to stay in that division and go to the Seahawks-Cardinals game.
Oof.
Dude, the curse of Call of Duty.
Well, again, it came out way earlier. This
I
is
don't
this
know,
is
man.
something else. But
I don't know, dude.
ever since their bye week, it's been something. I don't know, man. Like it's at this point, it's not Call of Duty because Call of Duty came out way before this, and he was still playing
Maybe it was
relatively
like an
well.
add-on pack or something like that to it.
Well, it might have been the add-on pack, but I don't know.
don't know.
There is something there though. I mean, it's been night and day. I mean, you discussed it, how well he was playing the first portion of the season. The last couple weeks, man, it's been rough.
Very, very.
And I will say that some of it is coaching and play calling, man. I question. There's so many times I see their play calls on offense and the way they're running their offense, and I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing? You have a mobile quarterback, and you're doing things that you would do if you had not a mobile quarterback. I just don't understand it, man.
True. Moving on, Eagles Panthers. Eagles squeaked one out, and people say, oh, the Eagles, blah blah, they barely beat the Panthers, blah.
So did Kansas City.
So did Kansas City. Like, the Lions barely beat the Bears, and they needed like one of the worst coaching decisions in the history of football to do it. So
that's true.
Like, you can't. Like, teams have these games. It's a thing, and I will give credit to Bryce Young. He has actually looked good the past month or so, month and a half after he got benched.
After he came back from being benched, he has looked good.
He looks like a competent quarterback.
Yep.
And good for him, because frankly, he deserved the shit he was getting because he was terrible.
Let's see. So since beginning of November, they beat New Orleans 23-22.
Mm-hmm.
They beat New York 20-17.
Mm-hmm.
They lost 27-30 to Kansas City.
Yeah.
They lost in overtime 23-26 to Tampa Bay.
Yep.
And they lost 16-22 to Philly.
Yeah.
They've been in every one of those games. Every one of those games was technically a one-score game, whether they won them or lost them. So I give that entire team credit and Bryce Young, because something has changed. Since November, they have changed, and they actually look like a competitive football team.
Something clicked for him.
Yeah, and the team itself. I mean, it's maybe it stems from him, and then it just branches out to the team.
I think it does, simply because he had that time when he was benched. I think he had time to just kind of step away a little bit and just watch and like learn and see, oh, look at this. Maybe I should do this instead of doing, and I think that helped. Now, is it going to be sustainable from this point on? That remains to be seen, obviously. But if it does, congrats. That's awesome, man.
I'll also say that their defense has played much better.
It has.
So here's the points they gave up before. So first couple games, 17-15, no big deal. Then they gave up 31. Then they gave up 47, 26, 22, 34, 36, 38, 40, 28. But then you get back into that stretch I just talked about, right? Gave up 22 points, 17 points. Okay, then they gave up 30, 26, 22. Their defense has taken a step forward too.
Yep.
And maybe it is because they're leading longer drives. Their defense is getting some rest because they're not going 3 and out so many times. But something has changed on that team in general since the beginning of November, and it's encouraging for them. If you're a Carolina Panthers fan, I'm not. I don't know many people that would listen to us who are, but
I don't know if there's any Carolina Panthers fans.
Carolina Panthers are actually a team.
Yeah, they got uniforms and everything. It's really great.
No shit.
But the team that doesn't exist in the NHL has the best record in the NHL.
Oh yeah, what team?
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, it is encouraging to see, and I actually am happy that Bryce Young has kind of turned it around a little bit. You hate to see somebody come in and just wash out.
Yeah.
But yeah, he looks like he might be getting it.
Credit to him. Moving along, Steelers stay in the race for obviously to win the division, which they're currently leading, and an outside shot to maybe get the number 1 seed in the AFC. But they take care of your Brownies, 27-14. I mean, let's talk about an absolutely lost season for the Browns.
Oh, it's completely
an absolute fucking disaster this season has been. And frankly, I don't see it getting any better anytime soon.
Oh, their season's done.
No, I'm talking about like even next year.
I mean, not if they keep Deshaun Watson,
which they kind of have to.
I mean, they've handcuffed themselves into doing it.
They kind of have to.
I mean, honestly, though, we say they kind of have to, but we also say in the same breath we say the NFL salary cap is not really.
From everything I've read, if they just say we're done with you, cut him. Like, you almost can't because the cap hit is absurd.
Who cares? The cap hit is there anyway, and you're winning more games with whoever else you put in
Dude,
there.
I don't disagree with
Like,
that.
in my opinion, so I've talked about this before. Sometimes addition by subtraction
Yeah.
is a fucking thing.
Yeah.
And you find it in any business.
Yep.
Right? So if you're looking at any business,
Yeah.
if you have, say you have 5 people there, one of them is just a lazy ass. Nobody really likes them, but they get away with doing shit that other people wouldn't do, or they're they just don't do a good job. 3 of the other 4 people will probably fall in line with that one,
Yeah.
and you're going to end up having a bad outcome. If you get rid of that one, those 3 people who are more easily influenced and or will go with the flow of what's happening will then fall in line with the other leader, who is that 4th one now. Addition by subtraction is a thing. And you've seen it with the Browns. They play better with other, even with Jameis Winston, captain 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. You know what I mean? Like
The full Jameis Winston experience.
the full roller coaster ride of
Yeah.
Jameis Winston, of throwing touchdowns and picks. That's what you get. But he gets a ton of yards. He will throw touchdowns. He'll throw picks. But they've still looked better. That offense looks better. Defense has a problem this year, and
Which
that's
we
weird.
thought that was going to be the strength
Th-
of your team.
It was last year,
Right. We
But-
thought that going into this season that if the defense plays to their potential, which we thought they were going to,
Right.
this is a possible Super Bowl team. Possible.
Absolutely.
But
If with the moniker,
The caveat, yes.
if with the moniker, and I said this, if Deshaun Watson has anything left in the tank, and by all accounts,
Done.
he has nothing left in the tank.
so this is going to be another season where he basically misses 75% of the season.
This dude is just stealing money at this
oh,
point.
yeah.
I mean, honestly,
Yes. Absolutely. I mean, you want to talk about putting Kirk Cousins' agent in the Hall of Fame? This dude's agent needs serious consideration for that.
honestly,
order.
he should have a bust in Canton.
That's what I'm talking about.
He should.
Yes. All right, moving on to the NFC South. Buccaneers stay in the race to win that division as they take out Frank's Raiders.
It was a little rough going for them against the Raiders
A
at
little
first,
bit, a little
but
bit.
then they turned the corner and
Yep.
got the job done.
Yep. So good for the Bucs. They stay in prime position to take that division because let's face it, the Falcons are trash, which we all thought the Falcons were going to run away with that division. But you see, Uncle Kirk he can't move. He can't
No,
move.
That team definitely didn't pan out like we thought.
It did not. But we'll see how it ends up playing out over these next few weeks. Let's see it. And the Chargers Chiefs. Oh my God. It truly is. I don't even know what the word for it is anymore with the Chiefs. I got nothing.
I will tell you, I did still pick the Bucks to win that division, though.
I think you did. Yes, you did.
You took the Falcons,
Falcons,
and
yeah.
Eric took the Falcons as well. I did take the Bucks in
Okay.
that one.
But yeah, the Chiefs Chargers game. I don't understand how one franchise
Can get that lucky all the time.
can just literally everything.
Almost every one of their wins this year is like it has a nickname because of what happened at the end of the game. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like this one is the field goal off the post game. I mean, they've gotten a blocked field goal at the end of the game to win a game. I mean, they've had some weird shit happen this year
Yeah.
to get them to their record right now. It's insane to me.
And
Including the refs changing a penalty to benefit
I know.
Kansas City. Literally, you can't make this shit up.
it is truly something that it's almost like obviously when the Lions were bad and they'd find a new way to lose every week.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I look at this for the Chiefs, to when they find a way to win. Now, I know they say if you're a good team, you create your own luck or whatever.
Yep.
But I mean, come on, really? Some of the shit's just absurd.
At this point, I am fully sold on the fact that Andy Reid sold his soul to the devil.
Something, because that's how else do you explain it?
Or Patrick Mahomes. One of those two.
Well, I mean, you look at his ratchet ass wife. So I don't know.
Speak of the devil.
Anyways, moving on. And then obviously you had the Monday Nighter, Cowboys Bengals. Did you watch any of that Simpsons broadcast or no?
I did not.
Neither
no.
did I. I saw like bits and pieces of it on Twitter. But.
So Raylan was definitely looking forward to watching that, but Monday nights she's with her mom, so
Yeah.
I don't know if she ended up watching it. I know that she had told me her mom had mentioned it was going to be on, so maybe she did watch some of it. I'm looking forward to talking to her about it tomorrow.
Yeah. I saw a little bit of it on Twitter. I thought it's kind of cool, I guess. But,
I saw a couple things afterwards
Yeah.
of some plays that happened and how it was broadcast and that.
Yeah.
I can tell you for sure, I would have absolutely tuned into it if it was a night where I had
For sure,
Raylan,
yeah.
and I wanted to watch the game anyway.
Yeah.
I would have put it on.
sure,
It
yeah.
doesn't matter to me. I'm still watching the game.
Yeah.
It's just because
it's like the Nickelodeon game.
right.
Yeah.
Just because it's Simpson characters doesn't mean I'm not still watching the game. I
Right.
still know what's happening. I would have absolutely put it on.
No doubt. But yeah, this game is just kind of like, okay, Dallas is bad. Bengals aren't great. Burrow had a huge night. And again, if this team was at or above 500, he would probably be your MVP, I think.
Yep.
Honestly. It's simple as that. It's just, his record is terrible. Or his team's record is terrible. So that's why he's not going to win. So,
The other game I want to touch on is one we didn't really think we were going to talk about, but it turned out to be a pretty good game. Miami and the Jets. And that Miami team, even though their defense didn't come through with the Jets, right, and made Aaron Rodgers look like the old Aaron Rodgers, that team, Tua gets the job done, man. This guy is, say what you want about him, he's not Josh Allen. But that team is totally different with him at quarterback.
it is.
That offense is totally different with him at quarterback.
Yes.
And he learned how to slide, which I'm impressed with because,
Yeah.
the best thing you could do for your team is be on the field.
Yes. The best ability is availability.
Yes.
So, yeah. Is there anything else you want to hit before we hit picks?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, how about we
How about we hit the picks?
dive into those?
This segment is brought to you by the Joe Wright Group.
It's time!
Yes, it is. Who did what?
Okay, so week 15 in the books for our picks. Yes, it was week 14 in the NFL, but it's the 15th week we've done the picks. I don't want to hear your bullshit. Shut the fuck up. So, college picks.
Yeah.
Eric won the college picks at 6-3.
Okay.
Myself and you were at 5-4. Frank was at 4-5. The NFL picks, Chris, you won
Yeah, baby.
5-2.
Yeah.
The other three of us were at 3-4.
Winning week.
Yes. I am absolutely 100% mid this week. So yeah, I was 8-8. The records right now are you are leading the pack, obviously, at 135, 122, and 2 because
baby.
you were leading last week and you beat us this week.
Got to hang up another banner.
Look in the rafters. Frank is at 118, 117, and 2.
Yeah.
Eric is 129, 128, and 2. I am 128, 129, and 2. So myself, Eric, and Frank are all one game within 500.
Yeah.
And you are, let's see, you are, above 500. I don't know. I'll have to do the winning percentages next week to make
We'll
sure
figure it out.
we have that.
We'll figure it out.
But yeah, so anyway, no matter what, you're leading the pack.
Yeah.
Let's get to this week's picks.
Let's. Obviously, really no college games to pick. There's a couple, so we did the ones that we could. First up, we got. I mean, you could legit say this might be the best rivalry in college sports. Army Navy. I always look forward to watching this game. It's a lot of fun to watch. You got Army laying 6.5. All of us took Navy except Eric. Eric took Army.
You can't let that shit happen. You can't.
The first bowl game, the Salute to Veterans Bowl, has South Alabama laying 8, taking on Western Michigan. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know anything about either of these fucking teams.
Same.
But
Same.
we all took South Alabama.
Never go for a retard.
Yeah. I guess. Moving on to the NFL slate. We got the Rams taking on the Niners. Niners laying 2.5. Joe, you took the Niners. The rest of us took the Rams.
Well, this is awkward.
After that, we got the Dolphins taking on the Texans. Texans laying 2.5. Joe, Eric, and myself took the Dolphins. Frank took Houston.
You got a little wiener and some tiny nuts.
Next, we got the Chiefs laying 4.5, taking on the Browns. All of us picked Cleveland except Frank.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
After that, I'm actually looking forward to this game. Eagles and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh or the Eagles are laying 5.5. All of us took the Steelers except Frank.
Take a big step back and literally fuck your own face.
That's aggressive. Next, we got the Colts taking on the Broncos. Colts taking on the Broncos. Broncos laying 3.5. We all took the Broncos.
Mana, the meatloaf!
After that, we got the Bucks taking on the Chargers. Chargers laying 3. Joe, you and Eric took Tampa Bay. Frank and I took the Chargers.
It's the Catalina fucking wine mixer.
Next, we got the Packers laying 3, taking on the Seahawks. You guys all took Green Bay. I took Seattle.
Why don't you go back to your home on Whore Island?
After that, we got the Bears taking on the Vikings. Vikings laying 6.5. We all took the Vikings.
Thanks a lot, Bin Laden.
Then we got the Falcons laying 4.5, taking on Frank's Raiders. You guys all took the Raiders. I took the Falcons.
Fuck you all.
And the last game on our slate, the biggest game of the week, as always, we got the Buffalo Bills taking on the Detroit Lions. Lions are laying 2. All of us took the Lions except Eric. Eric took Buffalo.
I'm never less Jewy.
And those are this week's picks.
You ever get their burps and farts out of the way?
Nice.
All right, speaking of the picks, if you want to go watch any of those games at a location and have some great food, check out Tap and Barrel Grill in Shelby Township. It is one of the newest sports bars in Metro Detroit. It's an upscale sports bar, features over 40 craft beers on tap, handcrafted cocktails, a delicious scratch-made food menu, and an amazing patio, which was voted best in Macomb County by Crain's Detroit Weekly. The comfortable feel, attentive staff, and fine dining food options make it a must-visit spot for sports fans and foodies alike. Whether you're watching the big game or just looking for a great meal, Tap and Barrel Grill has you covered. They also have their new drinks on special, apple pie martinis, blackberry mule tides, and top holiday old fashioned. Tap and Barrel Grill. Visit them at 50055 Van Dyke Avenue in Shelby Township, or go to tapandbarrelgrill.com.
Do you think Steve would do a DJ gig there?
One of these days, maybe.
Yeah. Oh.
Speaking of which, if you want to see him, Bald Man Entertainment.
You're totally going to forget that read, weren't you?
No, absolutely not. I was going to talk about the holidays at the end of the show and talk about if you want to throw a holiday party or if your work is throwing a holiday party,
yes,
a Christmas party.
Yeah.
Contact Bald Man Entertainment, Steve Waddell. We all know planning an event such as a wedding, birthday party, graduation party, Christmas party, or any other event that might require
Gotta
a DJ.
be PC. It's holiday party, man.
Can be very hairy. Christmas party. Eliminate the stress and give Steve Waddell at Bald Man Entertainment a call today at 586-747-5402. To see all of his upcoming events, check out his link on our Facebook page or go to SOTDET.com. Click on the Bald Man logo. Again, that's Bald Man Entertainment, 586-747-5402. The best decision you can make for a smooth event.
Nicely done. Good job.
Yeah.
So before you get into that, I do want to talk about this Juan Soto contract. This 15-year, $765 million contract. Dude.
Like 15 years.
Again, it's not my money, so it's like, okay, you know, you're richest owner in sports or whatever. Fine, cool.
Yeah.
But to spend that on one fucking player is ridiculous. And what's going to be even more funny is when you don't win anything with him. That's what's going to be the best part about this.
I want my own ass.
Like, I don't know. You could have. There's so many better ways to spend that money on your team than just one. I get he's good, but he is a horrendous fielder. And like anybody that says, "Oh, but he was up for a Gold Glove this past year," he was, which is ridiculous to me because if you look at him in the outfield, he's fucking terrible. But apparently, you don't need much to be a Gold Glove nominee these days. So
Pay that man his money.
as soon as it got announced, because we all kind of thought he was either going to end up with the Yankees or Mets, and obviously he chose the little brother in New York. So. Okay. Enjoy, guys. Like, I don't think it's going to bring you a World Series, but enjoy. And then, exactly. I think that's what's happening with Pizza Boy in Detroit right now with Crickets. I mean, I know they just signed a pitcher and Alex Cobb. I get that.
Yeah.
Which the dude's like 37 years old. What really?
And not quite what I want to spend $15 million on.
No.
But in the same breath, I can't get up. Like, you got to pick one or the other, right? So we were upset that he didn't spend money. Now he's spending money. He's just spending it in the wrong spot.
Right.
So all right. At least he's spending some money. But we've got 30. So Detroit has Detroit has $30 million tied up into two pitchers in Cobb and Maeda.
Oh God.
That really? That's where we got $30 million tied up for the next season.
Yeah.
A third of the payroll
in those two idiots. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Super pumped.
Hell of an organization you guys are running there.
Super pumped.
But if that's like the only move that they make this offseason, and they try to play it off like, oh, it's a significant move, it just goes back to what we were saying during the playoff run, that he doesn't give a fuck about you. He doesn't give a shit about this fucking baseball team. He doesn't. Like
most owners don't care.
No, they don't. But that's where I will
about
give
you anyway. But
that's where I will give Steve Cohen credit with the Mets. Dude clearly cares. He wants to fucking win.
Right.
I get it. But we talked about it. Like, if this team gives you a reason to spend money on it, which they did, and you get it like, but we need the foundation. It's not ready yet. Yes, it is. They proved it to you last year.
They clearly are ready.
Like, this is when you have to supplement this young team, with like good veterans, not Alex Cobb.
You made it to the playoffs last year. Had the best second half of the season that any team had last year.
Yeah.
And in your offseason so far.
And then we say, oh, we're looking at every option. No, you're not. You're not looking at every option. You know why you're not looking at every option? Because you don't want to spend the money for any option. So, fuck off.
No, you did. You wanted to spend $15 million
fuck off,
on
Pizza
Cobb.
Boy. Anyways.
You wanted to spend $15 million on Cobb.
Anyways.
Anything else?
No.
All right. Give us a like, a share, and a follow on our social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. You can find all of our podcasts on your favorite podcast provider. As always, check out SOTDET.com. Click on shop, buy some stuff. We would appreciate it. And while you're there, click on the links for our sponsors and support them, please. Give them a like, a share, and a follow on all of their social medias as well. They support us. Please support them. Again, SOTDET.com. On behalf of Chris, I am Joe. We are Sports on Tap. See you next Tuesday.
And that is it for us today.
No! God, please, no!
Bye. Have a great time.
No! God!
Bye, guys.
No. Bye, buddy. No!
Goodbye.
No! Goodbye! No!
It's never goodbye.
Hey.
You know, we've been through our ups and been through our downs.
You were meant to be here tonight.
You guys will always be in my heart.
Great moments are born from great opportunity.
I think the most important part is that we all stay together throughout.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Live. Fight like hell. The best thing I have ever done, the best thing I will ever do, is be a dad.
God, I love you guys. Mamba out.